Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm here with Brian. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
You guys probably recognize Brian from the channel. He's been here his third time around. Might become a frequent visitor here. But we wanted to touch on a very important topic of scaling. Cause I'll let you take over here, buddy. What was one of the huge goals that you just recently hit?
Uh, it's about 90 some thousand sales in the month. Fantastic profit, over 30K in profit. And that was really, if you looked at my sales, it was in about 13 days. I did most of that. And for the last 12 months, I'm almost at a quarter million in sales.
Phenomenal, right? Just undeniably phenomenal. And what I was kind of projecting by looking at your sales was like, had you been in stock the whole month, you would have almost made $250,000 in 30 days.
Oh man, it would have been so much better if I was, but I'm blessed and happy with what happened. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, absolutely. So how many units did you sell through in just 13 days?
Uh, a little over 1,600 units in 13.
1,600 units. What was your average daily sales? Because that's always what gets me excited.
Ooh. I was looking at it. Probably the average was probably 7,000 sales a day.
That's just so funny. Yeah, 7,000 in sales a day. How much were you selling 1 year ago to this day?
Oh man, if I look back, what is this? Probably $1,500, $2,000 just revenue for the entire month,
The
maybe.
entire month, right? So the topic of today's call is going to be scaling, and how you went from nothing to $97,000 in 30 days, and really had the opportunity was there that had you been in stock, it could have been well into almost like we said $250,000 in just 30 days because the demand is there. It's really just keeping up with the actual inventory, which is a lot of the issue for myself too. I have a more expensive product at $14 a unit. Even just
Right.
to order 500 of those is $7,000. So to keep blowing through those like nothing, it does take a lot. So what is your actual how are you funding that level of inventory?
Right. And a big thing I get a lot of questions like, well, I don't have that kind of money. How'd you fund that? So, as you well know, Paul, I started very meager. I started this with, I think, 250 units. And that was a lot of money, and it still is. It was thousands of dollars, but it wasn't astronomical. Sold of that very, very quickly, and I needed more money because I didn't have the cash flow. So it's been holding me back for a while. So what I did is more recently, in the last like 3 or 4 months, actually, at the beginning of the year, I went and got a small personal loan, and I got a
Yeah.
credit card, a 0% interest credit card. I do have decent credit, but I must have gotten like $40,000 worth of loans. Before that, I was putting it on high interest credit cards. Not suggesting you do
Mhm.
that, but I needed the funds, and I knew there was a calculated risk to make a good amount of money. So that's what I did, and it paid off big.
Sure, and to be fair, one of the reasons that worked so well is because you had proof of concept
That's
before
right.
you went and invest. Like I always hear people saying, "Should I take out a loan to start?" And that personally, I'm going, "No way!" Right? Fund this thing
Yeah.
yourself. Once you've proven every $1,000 that I put into this is making me 2,000 back, go get
Right.
the loan and fund your inventory. Because there could be a lot of issue with funding inventory when something starts taking off. I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's not just like you can inevitably keep selling. You are buying these units and selling them. So on the topic of we've covered you're doing phenomenal, but where did you start? Because a lot of people watching this channel aren't even coming close to 100K a month, and I don't think they could even wrap their head around that. So we talked about just a year ago you're doing 1 to 2K a month in revenue, not even profit. What was the change that happened, and really what there's always going to be chance and luck that played in, but strategically, how did you go from nothing to $100,000 in 30 days?
Sure. I mean, so when I first started, as you know, I had a couple of failed products. I learned from that, and I was able to figure out what worked. And when I did find that one product that worked, I went all out on it because I realized it was selling well. My PPC, I optimized it. I really pushed that forward. Then I started running into cash flow issues. Therefore, I had to get the loans. But you have to do that from the beginning. You have to find, like I said, proof of concept. I didn't just throw money at it and decide I was going to do it. I knew they were going to sell at least on some level, and it was a calculated risk. I can go into more detail if you want, but it's just I built from a small 200 units and built up from there.
Yeah, so basically you were just testing products to see if they were going to work before you made any huge investments. Is what the moral of the story was.
That's right. And the PPC was a huge part of that. I found that if I would spend $100 in PPC, I could get $100 return. So I was getting a return. And if you think about it this way, if you think about unlimited supply, now granted, you don't have unlimited supply, but I can always order more, assuming you have the cash to do that. But if I operate on that basis, and I'm sure there's probably a concept for that, if I operate on the concept that I can always order more, I can put money in. If I'm getting 150 for 150 spent in PPC, then that's worth it. So you got to think of it in terms of return per day. So that's how I handled it. It wasn't necessarily I was thinking about what I was getting per unit. That was all pre-figured out. I was figuring out if I spend 150, I get 150 back. It's like a cash machine, right? So that's what I was doing. That's how I scaled it with the PPC.
Sure. So you're big on just organic PPC growth. Nothing, no, I know we've talked slightly about Facebook ads and all those outside things, but would you say 99% of your growth has been correlated just to internal Amazon traffic?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily just look at my ACoS, although my ACoS is really good. I do suggest you optimize, but ACoS wise, you got to look at your overall sales. So if you're making, like I said, if you're making 150 and you spend 150, that's a good thing. You can always order more, but you need to find a way to get that cash flow if it comes to that point.
Sure. So this is a fun question. Were you to restart from day one? You get to keep everything that you've learned, but you don't get to keep your business or your product. What would you be doing on Amazon right now with the same $2,000 that you had to start, but the only thing that's different this time around is you knew that you were going to eventually scale to that? What would you do differently?
I don't know that I would do anything differently. If I didn't have the money, obviously I'd have to start with a smaller product, which I did start with a small product when I did this. I'll actually tell you what my product was because it's no longer being sold.
Sure.
We can actually talk about that. I started with wall decals, unicorn wall decals, right? And I thought I had a pretty good concept because I was trying to do a height chart with it. It never came to fruition, but I think it could have done all right. I didn't really know how to manage it at that point, but it was a failed product. I would find something that can give me a quick turnaround, that I could hopefully keep reinvesting and then build off of that. But that's hard to do. I like the bigger items myself. I've mentioned that in the past. It does take more of a startup fee to do that, though. My item's considered an oversized item. I really like the market there. If I had to start again small, I would even think about something like thank you cards or something. I could do 2 or 3 products at once and try to build off of.
So when you're saying bigger items, you're literally talking about volumetric size, not the size of the market.
Exactly.
And because you're saying that because there's there's a barrier to entry there that most new sellers aren't willing to cross.
Yes.
So as far as going from nothing to $100,000, I think are the American dream in that sense. Literally a year ago, it happened that fast.
Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit in shock about it, and it's just phenomenal. So we're definitely going to keep you around on the channel and have you as a frequent guest. But on the mentality side of things, this is something that I've noticed takes probably 90% of people out of the game, is that I could give you the best information, you could give someone the best information, they could be handed the playbook of Amazon FBA with, whatever, the creator of the universe could have written this thing. But if you don't have, the correct mindset, it's never going to work. If you don't get out of bed and are excited to work on what you're doing, and it just doesn't change, right? Like if you're not excited to work on your 9 to 5 and you're not excited about this, there's no shift that happens there. So where do you think that you excelled with your mindset in this business? Was it just diligence and hard work alone?
No, it is, but it's a passion of mine. So, I've listened to like gurus and stuff, right? That have talked about find your passion. And
Sure.
My passion is doing a business. And it's not hard for me in that sense. I love to do it. It's something I enjoy to do. So it's a labor of love. And my mindset, I have like a killer mindset. What I mean by that is some of the people I think about when I think about mindset, I'm not saying I'm any of these people or comparing, don't get me wrong. I think about Michael Jordan. I think about Chuck Noll, who was the head coach of the Steelers, huge Steeler fan. But even Bill Belichick, those type of people, you never see them celebrate for too long. They reach a goal. They want to just continue and reach the next goal. So that is my mindset. I am happy that I'm doing what I'm doing. There's no question. But I feel like my journey's just began. I'm just starting on the mountain. I am not to the point where I feel like I'm a success. I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like if I quit now, I could lose everything. I have a sense of urgency still. I want to grow it. I want to become huge.
So there's a sense of perspective that you've taken. I know specifically with Michael Jordan, it's always that, you know, no one else has really any impact on you. It's you versus you on the court. You know, you're training and then you're fighting yourself to keep pushing yourself. And I mean, it's incredibly humbling to have you do $97,000 in 30 days and then say, I haven't achieved my goal yet, which
I know it sounds bad, but
no, it doesn't sound bad. I mean, the point there is that as soon as you think you've hit your goal, you stop trying, which is phenomenal. I mean, there is a difference between never feeling fulfillment, which surely you're fulfilled. I don't think that a lot of people might say, you know, well, you could keep raising your money goal, but you never get fulfillment. No, the fulfillment starts on day one, and that's the difference. Because you're fulfilled just doing it, so that you could keep raising the money goal, and that's part of the game, right? The game is make the most amount of money from the most amount of products on Amazon. So to even think that, you know, okay, just hit 50K, then you're done, is silly, right? Like everyone watching this video should want to keep growing if they can, keep thriving if they can. So yeah, I mean, this video was really geared towards getting out to the subscriber base that's going to be watching this and, you know, giving them motivation. And for one thing, you started with, if I remember correctly, it was about like $2,000 to $2,400 for your this product that's doing 100K a month, right?
Exactly right, like $2,500.
$2,500.
And then I had some failures. You know, I got most of my money back. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I always say, it wasn't that bad. I got a lot of my money back. You lose a little bit, you just keep working, you just keep going. And like you said, it's a passion. I'm already feel fulfilled because I love to do this. This is something I get up every day and I'm excited about. And this has lasted for over a year. I've never had something I'm excited about to get up every day and be like, man, this is great. I just want to get to the point where I'm not having to work at all from my regular 9 to 5, and I can literally do this as my job. And I'm pretty much there, hopefully in a few months. But I love it. I just love to do it. And I think you have to have that passion if you're going to do this.
Sure, it's definitely easier to love it if you're making money and not losing it too.
Well, absolutely. There's no question. But that's not my ultimate goal. Money is great, and I want to get money, but that's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to succeed, and I am fulfilled. Like you said, I don't have to reach some goal to be fulfilled. I'm fulfilled doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something to be said for the actual selection of the product. When you actually have a product that everything you do to it seems to make it sell better, that's where the secret of Amazon lies. Is if you had tried to launch, you know, a French press or, you know, I don't know, some generic a staple gun or something like that, right? Like it wouldn't have had the same results. So spending more time on actually drilling down on a market that has potential, you still need to be able to fit in there. So the last thing I want someone walking away from this video thinking is, no matter what I do, failure's all right, all this is all right. Well, that's good to think that way, but that's a sense of thinking at the past. If you've thought about the past, then you could accept that failure's all right. But success is on thinking forward, right? I hate when people say, I'm just trying to gain experience from doing this, I don't care if I lose money. That's actually the wrong mindset, okay? That's something you say if you've already lost money. If you've already lost it, great. I'm glad you think that it's okay. But if you haven't, why are you going towards success thinking it's okay if I lose money? No, spend an extra 2 weeks or 3 weeks. If you don't have a good idea, do not move forward. You really should be confident in your idea. And I think confidence in an idea comes from understanding the right metrics. So what are some of the metrics that you look at when looking into scaling your product line? I mean, now you're just mostly focusing on scaling your product line, but where do you see opportunity on Amazon from just a product point of view?
Everywhere, really. It's just there is opportunity everywhere, but I think you have to, and you've talked about this, you have to have good differentiation, but it's not just that too. Everything involved, the listing. What I really liked, as you know, recently there was another product I have that's done really well. It's sold out. When I came out, I think 2 or 3 other people came up with the same exact differentiation I had. Like, it came out of nowhere. I was upset, but I pushed through with my PPC, and I was able to actually overcome that, and I'm selling better than all of those people. So I pushed it with PPC. I found some back-end keywords that really helped. But there's opportunity. You have to find a niche that kind of you hit, and then you can build that brand within that niche. That's the important part. Find something that you might even be interested in, that you know the product well, that you know what somebody would want, I think that's important. Build something that you would want to use yourself and something you've tested. If you have to take the extra month and do that, do that. Don't put out a junk product because you're going to get junk results in return.
I think you touched on probably my most important metric, which was sell something that somebody wants. Okay, and I think people overlook that because my whole point of selling on Amazon is that I'm using Amazon's traffic, right? I don't want to have to sell on Amazon, collect fees from Amazon, and then also spend ads externally as my main source of traffic. I want to list something on Amazon, rank it on page one, and then reap the rewards. So the only way you can do that is, I always say make keyword research part of your product research. You need to know that there are people looking for your product. And then more specifically, if you can find people that are looking for a product, but they're looking for something that's not even there yet, right? Maybe they're looking for, in my situation, a picture hanging kit. People are actually typing the word kit in more than they're typing in the word just tool or level, which is my main product.
I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah, but no one's giving them the kit. One or two people are, and they're the most successful people. So it's like clearly, go give them exactly what they want, right? Maybe this is for people in an urban setting or just for small families. They don't have tools, right? Give them every part of the product that they're looking for. And usually it's going to be, found with that keyword research. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to specifically say to the new guy who is coming in as hella ambitious, has all the passion. Passion, I always say it's great, but passion is not the same thing as, efficiency. You could be completely passionate about making the best popcorn maker, but no one cares. Funnel your passion into the right thing. What do you say for someone like I or someone that you that was watching this video just a year ago or 2 years ago before we got our roots into the ground, that has all this ambition, that maybe has saved a little bit of money? What's your final words for someone like that? Is it just to test stuff and see where you land? Or is there really like a strategy you can follow?
I think the things I've learned, you have to almost have the experience. It's like you can tell somebody, you can tell somebody that you did this and this is what the experience was, but you can never have that unless you do it yourself. So I think on some level you do have to do it. One of the best sayings I've heard was from Gary Bishop. He's kind of a motivational talker. I'm not sure what he considers himself, but he said, you are not your thoughts, you are what you do. So you can think about it all day. You can watch all the videos in the world, but until you do that, what you do, your actions are what defines what you're going to be and what's going to be your future. So I'd say you got to take the action and do it. Now do that with as much research as possible, but you have to pull the trigger. I learned more just by doing it than I did by watching the videos, because you have to take the action. Action. That's the only thing I can say. Do it.
Yeah, so if you're watching this video and you have an idea that you're 55% sure in, go do it, right? Because, on some level, it may work, it may not. And like we said, go towards it if you truly think it will work. And if something happens to happen that it doesn't end up working, that's okay. Don't go towards that as if it was never going to work. That's not very motivating. But I think you touched on that nail perfectly. You really are not your thoughts. I have no idea what the next thought is going to be. It just simply appears, right? And if you look into the neuropsych, there's a neuroscientist named Sam Harris, and I use his Waking Up course all the time. A lot of you watching this might know who that is. But his whole thing is practicing mindfulness, and I think that has actually helped a lot in my space of Amazon FBA. Just knowing that you really are not what you think. That what you think is actually more so reflective of what's going on around you than what is actually going on in your life. If I'm in a room and someone's yelling and I'm in a room and someone's peacefully, giving me appreciation, those are two different universes, and my thoughts will be different based on both of those situations. In either case, it's really not up to me what to think. It's just external stimuli. So, keeping that in mind with Amazon, there is nothing that I could do wrong, actually. I can only do this and I can only learn. If I do it enough times, it is going to work. And I am the only variable that could be wrong, because the model does work. You make $100,000 a month. Last year, you did not. I make, $12,000 a month. Last year, I did not. So it does happen and it does work. And then the only thing to say is, if this works, what isn't working and why isn't it working for me? So then going back to the drawing board, reverse engineering what's not working. And then my favorite principle is called modeling. Look at someone who's doing it and try and reverse engineer their success.
Absolutely.
and not even just to a mentor, but to an Amazon seller. I will often check in on competitors of mine and go, who's got the best product and how can I take away those characteristics and put it into mine? The goal is not actually to be completely different from your competitor. If they're doing well, that you actually want to take those characteristics into your product with maybe a slight tweak. Sometimes I think, what are your thoughts on differentiation? Because a lot of people take that the wrong way. They might even change their product to the point where it doesn't sell correctly anymore. My thoughts on differentiation is I actually want to be as close to the best seller as possible, but with my own different value proposition.
Well, it depends. It's interesting you said that because I actually had one of the people that gets your list actually came to me and asked me for help, and I did help him. I actually recommended he do something a little different. I recommended he had a different type of packaging, a slightly different model. He didn't listen to that. He went with the bestseller one, somebody that had 1,600 reviews. The problem I had with what he did with that was there wasn't much to differentiate him. He did add another component into that, but I don't think it was enough of a differentiation to people wouldn't recognize that right away. So that was a little frustrating for me because I thought he would have done much better had he listened to what I had told him. I'm not saying I know everything, but so it depends. It's a balance. You're right. You do want to take the best elements. You don't want to get rid of the good things, but maybe even add more good things or more options in that can make it even better. So it's kind of like an art. It's tricky.
Sure, there is something very simple to be seen there. Okay, there's a difference between copying the bestseller who has 1,600 reviews and you now have 3 with the same price or even close to their price.
How would they go to?
That's not a differentiation at all. What I'm saying is, okay, if the bestseller in my category has this dimension product and it's this color, those are maybe things that I want to focus on because compared to the counterparts, he's crushing it. But then I need to go in and I have to have something better than his or bundled with something that's crushing it on its own. And then I need to actually have an even possibly a better price initially so that people go, okay, it's worth going with someone that has 4 reviews because their value is so much higher. So I do want to clear the air there. I don't want you to just sell something that's too similar to the bestseller. I want you to look at the characteristics of the bestseller that are selling best and then make a product that's actually more valuable.
And I think that's a newbie mistake. Just what you said, and I think for me that was too. I talked about the unicorns, right? So I came out with when I had seen another person with something very similar. By the time mine hit the market, I had like a 4-pack. Well, there was multiple people that had 4-packs, so it didn't really differentiate me enough, and I should have thought differently. If I would have added that height chart, it could have really been a winner, I think. So absolutely, I think it's a newbie mistake that they think this is selling so well. Why not do the same thing? The problem with that, like you said, why would somebody buy yours over theirs when they have way more proof that theirs is a good product? 1,600 reviews, you're never going to catch them unless you're 2 sellers in the market. It's just not going to happen.
It's just that. Differentiation is figuring out the reason that someone will buy yours. To sum up the whole thing, in a market that already exists, don't sell that product. Sell your brand or sell, your specific value that you're bringing to the table, or else there's just no reason to invest in you. It's easy to get caught up in your ideas because they're yours, going back to the neuropsychology of this. It's easy to think this will kill it because it's so close to what they're doing. It's just a money machine. 9.99 times out of 10, that's not even close to what's going to happen. You need to get that customer to think, pause, go, you know what? They do have less social proof, but they're offering me exactly what I want. So it's Amazon. I could always return it. If you could get enough people just thinking that, that's how you build the first 25 reviews. And then the review thing isn't even a thought. Then it's just, wow, that's valuable and it has good reviews. And on the topic of reviews, how many reviews do you have now?
Over 50. My other product has over 20, probably closer to 30. So yeah, they're both fairly good, really good for the reviews overall. And that helps. If you have bad reviews, you're in trouble.
If you have bad reviews, you're not going to sell. I mean, it's simple as that. So that comes with a quality product. And you think the simplest way to get reviews, I think, is just to sell a lot of units, right? Everyone's always talking about review strategy, how to well, sell a great product that sells a ton of units, and the reviews will come through in the long run, right? It's of course important to catch those customers with a reminder to do so. You can improve the rate of people who are going to review it. But there's a lot of focus that is off. The focus should just be find something that someone's looking for that no one has provided an answer to yet, do it better than anyone else has done with a higher value and a lower cost, and then get a lot of people to buy that product. I think that's a great place to wrap up this video for.
Yeah, and also you mentioned too the pricing. If you can hit it with a aggressive price at the beginning, that's going to get you more reviews, and it's going to get your sales up. And then maybe later on down the road you can raise it up. But it's important to get, like you said, why are they going to buy your product over somebody else's? If you add more value, and if you have an aggressive price to start, that's a good way. Even though you might not be making a ton or losing money at first, you can potentially make money, and that's all part of the experience. As you get more experienced, I think you can learn how to launch more aggressively.
And just to touch on pricing strategy, I think this will probably be the last thing, and we'll wrap up this call. Me and you have both done something just synonymous with each other's launches. So it's the simple fact of we both started our price way lower than it now is.
Right.
And it was slowly scaled, maybe $1 at a time or $4 or $5 at a time if you're, feeling a little bit more like you want to make a big jump because it's doing that well. But what price did you start your product at, and what price do you now sell it for?
Around 40 to start. Now I sell it for 50 plus, but it could even go. I can honestly sell it for 60 plus if I wanted to in this environment. I just chose not to do that.
Sure. There is a degree where you start asking yourself, would my customer feel that this is a $70 product? Even though I could sell it there, you do want to remain that relationship of that was actually valuable for the cost that I paid for it.
How's it going to affect my reviews? Exactly. And
exactly. If I were to sell at $50 and have, $5 less profit margin than to sell at 57 after fees or something, but I'm getting 5 stars on average instead of 4.2, well then, that's worth it because that's actually going to lead to more profit in the long run.
I agree.
I started my product at $34.97 and it is now $51.97. So massive increase, right?
Sure. Wow.
35 all the way up to 51. And like I said, I could probably sell that for $54.97 or $59.97, but that's where I'm starting to go. This is probably a $50 product. So, there's that differentiation of, well, not differentiation, but there's that difference between, actually gouging people. We were just talking about price gouging before we did this.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's like, I probably could sell this for even more, but this is where I truly believe that it's worth. So, yeah, thanks so much for being on the call today. Guys, comment down below if you want to see more of Brian on the channel. Maybe we'll have him as a frequent visitor here.
I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being on the call, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Later.
All right, sounds good.